Hi guys, we are going to be doing a shamanic journey at the end of this practice. So if you wanted to pull up on Spotify or YouTube some type of shamanic drumming, because music doesn't translate very well through Zoom, and then that way you have something to listen to beyond my voice. It certainly does help with the vision quest. Namaste, everyone. Glad you are present and showed up on a Saturday morning. I'm happy to be here on a Saturday morning. This used to be my class for 13 years. And then I let it go during the pandemic and decided, I think I want a Saturday off. But I will be able to step in and sub on occasion. So hopefully I can see you guys more often. Depending on if Maria's coming or going. I wanted to talk about a subject matter that can be slightly triggering, which is why I thought I would keep us facing this direction today. Because I know on Saturdays, a lot of teachers will face this direction, and that's fine. That's north, this is east. But with it being slightly, possibly, potentially triggering, I wanted you to face this way. Because we know when we get triggered, we can go into fight, flight, freeze. And I just want you to feel like you're in a safe space. You've got exit doors on either side of you. Not that you're going to want to flee, you know, just to be aware of who's coming and who's going from the space, really. So the subject matter I want to talk about today is the healing of the wounds of our inner child. And I know many of us have had different childhood experiences, and trauma can come in many different forms in many different ways. And trauma can happen as an adult. It's not, you know, regulated just to childhood. But I want to bring it up only because sometimes I'll teach what keeps showing up, and this continues to show up this week. And I thought, let's just deal with the elephant in the room. Not necessarily that it's here in this space, but when something keeps showing up over and over again, since I do have a platform, I feel like it's meant to be talked about, discussed, and, you know, held. So this is a safe space. But I'll share with you a few things that's come up. My own father was a Church of Christ minister, and was until he retired. Very religious home, very conservative home, very judgmental home. Everything was about what everybody else thought about us, you know, and him specifically. And that put a lot of pressure on the whole family. And we felt like we were often walking on eggshells when we were in our house. And one of my sisters, there's 4 of us, 2 of them were like perfectly little 10 soldiers that did everything they were told. They were like the perfect children, living the perfect life. Still kind of are. And then me and the other redhead, maybe it's the red hair, maybe it was the fact that there was a 7-year gap in between the first 2 and the last 2. And they became a little bit more lenient with us and not as suffocating. But regardless, they expected us to fall in line, just like the first 2 did. And we didn't fall in line. We were a little bit more rebellious. We were a little bit more pushing the limits, so to speak, to the point where my sister, right above me, decided as an adult living in the same hometown that she was going to withdraw from my dad's church and go to a different church, right? That caused a big rift in the family. Like, how dare you? Such betrayal, right? And it got to the point where he would not even go to visit, but he would not go to her children's birthday parties because he looked at her children as being lost souls, right? So he didn't want to build this bond, even though they were allowed to come to his house and he would treat them the same when they were in his house, but he wouldn't make the effort to go to birthday parties or go to their athletic games and sport events, right? Like he did the other grandchildren in the same town. Right, so my sister, through her adulthood and watching this and seeing this hurt that her children are exposed to, is like, if something ever happens to dad, I am not taking care of him. She used to always tell me that. Well, guess what? When my dad had his massive stroke 2 years ago, she was the first one to step up. The first. And she's been a primary caregiver for him. She set all that aside. How big of her and how beautiful. Because this experience of now helping my father learn to walk again and learn to speak again has been very healing for her. Even though she's not getting what she wanted, and he can never go back in time to repay what he couldn't do with her children, right? It's lost. But she's being the bigger person and she's doing it, and it's healing the relationship. It's beautiful. So this week I had a couple people come to me. There was one person coming to me, and she's having panic attacks. And she's a workaholic, and her husband gets to, they actually have a partnership in real estate. He does all the paperwork, she does all the people stuff. And so he's at home with the 2 kids. And she's having these panic attacks because she's having these triggers come up. She didn't have a father, she never knew a father. And she had a great mom, but her mom married 5 different times through her childhood. And so men were always coming and going from her life, right? There was never a steady father figure. And she's missing that, and she's grieving that still today. And then I had another student come up to me, and she was in tears, and she said, you know, I grew up with an alcoholic father, and he has always been an alcoholic. She goes, I moved in here once, I got in treatment, I tried to do all the things. He slipped right back into alcoholism. He's back in Vegas where his family is, and now they're calling me because he's gone off the rails at this point. And she was like, I don't know what to do, and I'm not going to be responsible for it. It's not my time to be responsible. I've done that in the past. It didn't help. He's going to have to help himself. But in those moments where she's sharing that, she's just shedding crocodile tears because there's this little girl inside of her, and she even stated this. She was like, my inner child is just hurting. And then I had one more thing happen this week. So it's like, boom, 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 boom. Another student resurfaced. She had disappeared. She was a regular all through the pandemic. Even as a cancer survivor, she was showing up for class. She was showing up in the studio. She was not wearing a mask. She was just like very convicted in her heart about how she was going to live her life and how she was not going to be in fear, and how her mind is what took her through that cancer, and she was not going to allow the fear to seep in because she didn't want that cancer to resurface. Well, guess what? The cancer resurfaced anyway. And so when she showed up again this week, I was like, where have you been? And she said, well, it came back, and I went out west, and I've been dealing with all these treatments again. And she said, last week when I arrived back at the airport, I couldn't even walk. I was so weak. I had to be wheeled to my car. She said, but look at me now. I've got my energy back. I've got a little stamina. And she came for gentle restorative. So she wasn't going to be moving too much. But she came, she showed up because she knew that yoga would help. We got into a conversation about the whole inner child thing because it just came out as a result of the conversation about cancer, and us talking about how a lot of disease, especially cancer, is a beginning point in the mind or in the emotions. And it usually stems from the past. It's usually something unresolved or something unprocessed. It's some sort of wound that can lead us to that. Not always, but sometimes. And she said, yeah, she was like, I'm still really angry at my mother. She said, last year when I turned 66, she's 66 years old. I turned 66 years old. I called my mother on the phone, and I'm like, 66 years ago, you gave me life. And her mother said, 66 years ago, I don't want to be reminded because I was in pain. And that hurt her, hearing her mother say that. Like, not the gift of life, not the celebration, I have this daughter, but you put me in pain. And then she came out and said, you know, I know that my cancer stems from my mother and the relationship I have with my mother, because she never acted like she really wanted me. She never acted like she really fully accepted me. She's never really supported any of my decisions. And when I was 5 years old, she just came out with this, you guys. This might be the trigger, so sorry. She said at 5 years old, I was sent to the doctor. The nurse left the room and the doctor molested me. And as a 5-year-old girl, I knew that wasn't right. I went back to my mother and I shared with my mother what happened. And my mother didn't believe me and she didn't want to hear it. And she said that doctors are supposed to touch your body, and dropped it. And all this time it's been stuffed down. And it took her having cancer to be able to say it, to get it out. We all have an inner child, and that inner child may be wounded and it may be hurting. And sometimes we stuff it or ignore it or move past it. But think about, we're going to do a shamanic journey at the end of the practice. Shamanic journeys can take us to the upper world. The shamanic journeys can take us to the underworld. The shamanic journey can help us to meet our spirit animal. It can help us to meet the spirit guide. What we're going to do today is we're going to end in a shamanic journey to meet and greet and connect and to love on our inner child. Does that sound good? We're going to love on her and embrace her and tell her whatever we need to do. And one last thing, because I'm being reminded, looking at Marcy, and she's a Reiki master too. I was teaching Reiki to a couple ladies, and it's Heather. She wouldn't mind me saying. Heather's a wonderful woman. She's usually sitting right here where Debbie is. Heather comes from California. She grew up in a very open-minded home. She had yoga going on in her backyard when she was growing up. But during the Reiki training, she said, you know, she was like, I don't know what caused me to do this the other day, but I walked into my closet and I have a picture of me as a Cub Scout, not a Cub Scout, a brownie, right? Yes, little girl brownies. She was like, I was a brownie. She goes, I don't know what compelled me to do it, but I just took that picture and I looked at her and I kissed the picture and I hugged the picture and I talked to my little self. And I told my little self how proud I was of the person she's become. And that's what I want us to do in our practice today. That's what I want us to do in our shamanic journey today, is to love on her and to support her and to embrace her and to accept her. All right, let's start child's pose. So when you come into child's position, let's start with the more traditional variation, where the arms are circling around you, palms open at your feet, where your belly kind of pierces in, and you're rounding your back like an egg shape, and you're resting towards your hairline. The upper part of the brow. If that's too much for the neck, you can always lengthen the neck a bit and allow the penetration to occur at the third eye, the midpoint of your brow. Let your shoulders softly relax and drip down over the knees. And then just take a moment and you're in this fetal type position to close your eyes, as if you were back in your own mother's womb. You know, the first sense that develops in the womb is hearing. We're hearing the fluid swish around us. We're hearing voices and music from the outside filtering in. I want you to drop in for a moment and develop a little inner quietude to see if you can hear a whisper from your inner child. And it's okay if you hear nothing at all. Don't try to conjure anything up. Just let it be. Then we're going to move into the extended form of child's pose. So as you inhale, extend your arms out in front of you, look the face up, look down the lane of your mat, creep and crawl the fingertips a little further out, and then gently lower your head. Now check in with your neck. At this point, you may not want to drape the head all the way down to the floor. It may feel best for the neck to have the ears in line with the upper arms and the face just barely hovering. Create that traction through your back, the space in between each vertebra. Stretch out through the underside of the arms, flush out the lymph nodes in the pits of the arms, and take 3 full deep breaths. Since we're face down, maybe ending with a cleansing breath, breathing in through the nose, out to the mouth. Inhale, lift the face up, walk your hands over to the right side of your mat, off to the coolness of the wood floor, and then gently lower it back down and in. Accentuate that stretch on the left side of your body. Open up those side intercostal muscles. Really try to inflate your left lung as you breathe in. And let it completely exhaust as you breathe out. So on your next inhalation, gently lift the face, walk your hands across the sticky mat over to the left side. Keep your hands shoulder distance apart and gently bow back over and down. Feel that elongation now to the right side body. Notice if the sensation varies between one side and the other. Open the channel of the breath. Feeling up on the inhale, emptying on the exhale. Inhale, gently lift the face up, walk your hands back to the sticky mat, rock up to your hands and knees. When you rock up to your hands and knees, inhale, take your cow. Exhale, reverse that to cat. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. So as you inhale, you're creating that saddle in your back, opening the heart controls. And as you exhale, you're rounding it out, hollowing out the belly and hollowing out the chest. Do one more. Just warming up the spine. On your next in breath, you're going to curl the toes under. You're going to lift the knees off the floor, coming into your plank position, building a little upper body strength. Shift forward and let your body drop and hover and hold if possible. And then on your in breath, you can rise to your upward facing dog. And on your out breath, you can curl the toes and roll back to downward facing dog. Now, when you're in downward facing dog, this is our first one, so sometimes it feels nice to walk it out. Maybe bending one knee, maybe straightening the other leg. Not just working into the hamstrings, but the calf muscles. And then come back to stillness. Push into your palms and feet and shine up through your seat. Then now walk your hands back towards your toes, land your heels, softly bend your knees, and clasp a hold of your elbows. This is more of a yin variation of Uttanasana. We're a little lighter on the feet. We're not necessarily plugging them down. We have that soft bend in the knees. I would try to emphasize a longer, sweeter exhalation because that allows for more relaxation in the mind and body.
And yin is meant to be a little bit more passive, less structured, less concerned about alignment, moving into a state of being. Make sure your neck is neutral, your head is heavy. As you replenish the face, as you reboot the mind, as you nurture your liver, kidneys. But the main reason I want us to hang out here for a moment is we tend to pack the past onto the backside of the body. We tend to store it in the backside of the body. And this is a great pose for opening up this area. Let your heart continue to gravitate lower. Affirming as you hold, nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back, not even my wounded inner child. It is possible to heal this aspect of ourselves. Lean into her, talk to him or her. We're going to get more established in our roots. So go ahead and begin to push down through the soles of the feet. Begin to straighten out through the legs. Sweep the arms to your sides and bring them all the way up. Come to upward worship, thinking about all you've gained thus far, all the blessings you've received, the strength and the resilience. And then exhale, bring the hands down to the heart. All right, we're going to slowly meditationally walk forward. So inhale, step with one foot. And as you exhale, apply the pressure down to the ball, through the toes. Picking up the back foot. Inhale, step it forward. Exhale, slowly lower it down. Inhale, picking up the back foot, stepping it through. Exhale, heel, arch, toes. Once you come all the way to the top portion of the mat, standing here, looking down at your feet to make sure that toes are lined up in one straight line. All right, from here, we're gonna take the hands so that they're facing the front of the room, the back of the hands. And as we inhale, we're lifting the arms, but we're also lifting the left knee. And then as you exhale, you slowly step it back and you fan the arms back behind you. As you inhale, we're standing strong in the right leg. We're coming back to balance. And exhale, step it back into that line push. One more, power of three. Good, now stay here. Look at your front knee. Make sure it's aligned right over the ankle, facing the center of the foot. And now inhale, turn your palms to face one another and lift the arms up to your crescent. Feel free to even strike a little bit of a back bend if that's in your wheelhouse. And then exhale, hinge forward, fan the arms back, like wings of an airplane this time. And then inhale, pressurize the front foot, especially the down to the big toe, crescent lunge, and then exhale, fold over. Good, one more, inhaling up. Exhale, hover over the front thigh, look down. Place your palms down, step back into your plank. Exhale, shift forward and lower down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, rise and open the heart. Exhale, roll back over the toes. Adho Mukha Svanasana, and let your head relax between the upper arms. Gaze in the direction of the feet or beyond. Think about lengthening the area behind your heart. Think about creating more space for the lower portion of your belly. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale to sit down to your knees and untuck the toes. We're gonna bring the right forearm down as a headrest. The left arm is gonna slide ahead. So you're in half melting heart. Now that left side of your body is gonna continue to drape down. So let go through the left side. And the right side will be your supportive side. See if you can merge with your breath. Become one with your breath. The breath is what brings the spirit into the practice. Eyes can be open or shut, but keep your breath fluid. So what I want you to consider, this pose is called Anahatasana. And Anahata does not translate to mean melting heart. It actually translates to mean unstruck or unbroken. And Anahata is the name of the heart chakra. The heart chakra is said to be the indwelling place of the soul. So consider how these ancient yogis and rishis call this Anahata, unstruck, unbroken. Remember, we talk about Maya. Maya meaning illusion. So even though the experiences have been real, the idea that we are broken is a falsehood. And if you feel like you have fractal pieces that separated away from you in your childhood or past, this is your time to call it back. This time of ascension that we're moving through is the time to call all of you back home to yourself. Inhale, gently lift. Stack your hands under your shoulders, curl the toes under, and launch back into downward facing dog. From your Adho Mukha Svanasana, you're going to step your right foot forward and up between your hands. As soon as you solidify the foot, the arms are rising. You're coming into your crescents. And as you exhale, you're hinging over with the power of 3. I know we're on the same side, it's on purpose. Inhale up. Exhale, take it down. Beautiful, one more, sync it up with your breath. Now the hands are gonna turn a different direction. The back of the hands face the front of the room. We ground the right foot, like a little bit of a Karate Kid action. And then exhale, step it back. Twice more. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, step back. Last one. This time when you bring it up, bring your hands together at the top, lower the left foot down, hands to heart center. All right, now we get to the heart. Back of the hands face the front, landing line from your left hip down the leg to the sole of the foot. Elevate your right knee. Hands pick up. Exhale, step it back. Gazing down. Inhale, coming up to balance, gaze forward. Exhale, step it back and gaze down. One more. Now stay on the ball of the back foot. Inhale, rise to crescent lunge. Your choice whether you back bend or not. Exhale, hinge forward and hover over the front thigh. Continue that movement. I don't hear much of the Ujjayi breath in the room, but you're welcome to use that breath. which can be really nice when you're flowing this way. All right, inhale, arms up. Good, exhale this time, hover, hold. Bring the hands down. Step back plank. Pause in your plank. Thighs engaged, core engaged. Head is up. Shift forward, lower down to chaturanga. Elbows clip into the side body. Inhale, rise to up dog. Exhale, roll back to down dog. Press into the mounds of the hands so you're not just weight bearing in your wrists. Good, inhale, lift up through your heels. Exhale, land softly to your knees and untuck the toes. The left arm's gonna cross for a headrest. The right arm's gonna extend out. And then you lower. Anahatasana. There's so much ancient wisdom embedded in the history of yoga. Meditate on the term anahata and the fact that it means unstruck and unbroken. We're on the left side, we're working with the feminine side of the body, and it's a side where we can hold sadness. When we're working on the right side of the body, it's the more active or masculine side, and it has a tendency to hold and store anger. Breathe in a state of renewal. Breathe out any toxins or tension away. Your next in breath, let's slowly rise back to table. We'll continue the Surya Namaskara by rolling back to down dog. And then we'll complete this one the same way we started. So inhale, step your left foot through. Once you feel grounded in the feet, coming up to your crescent lunge. Your choice to keep the spine vertical or back bending. And exhale, dive over. Twice more as you sink it up with breath. I'll turn the back of the hands to face the front of the room. Round the left foot, lift the right knee. Exhale, step it back. Bring it in and up. Breathe it out and down. In and up. Out and down. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart, right foot down. Once you're established here, inhale, drop the arms alongside, ground and reach your feet. Inhale, you're lifting the left knee up. Exhale, step it back. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to the floor. Turn and plant your back foot down. Stack your right arm on your right thigh. Really cement your back foot. And then take the left arm skyward into your side ankle. Now keep your hips open. Exhale, lower your left hand down, gaze down. 2 more, inhale, open back into your twist. Exhale, fan the hand down. Inhale, bring it up. Now see if it's possible to step the right hand to the floor or to a block. From there, see if you can send and soar your left arm across your ear, taking a deeper variation of Parshvottanasana. Now, as you exhale, lower your left palm down, spin away through your back heel, and fly the right arm skyward. So you're taking a revolving variation of side angle. Exhale, lower the right hand down. Inhale, sweep it right back up. Exhale, take it down. Last one, inhale, wave it up. Pausing here, squeezing the right hip in, picking your left thigh up. Exhale, lower the right hand down. Right foot plank. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhaling to upward facing dog. Exhaling to downward facing dog. Hold and breathe. Inhale, fly up through your heels. Exhale, land to your knees, untuck your toes. Now we're going for the full variation. Thighs stay perpendicular to the floor. Your arms slide out. Your chest melts down. You can rest on your chin or your brow. See what works better for your face. See what works better for your neck and shoulders. And experience what is better for your breath. So if you need to take child's pose, take child's pose, but I see some of you in child's pose, which is different than the mountain part. So the hips stay over the knees. And the arms stretch out, and then you dip. It's like a Nike symbol from your tailbone, swooping down your back towards your fingertips. Nike, by the way, references a goddess who was the goddess of victory. One last breath. Send your face down. Feel free to take a cleansing breath. Inhale, slide your hands back, reform your tabletop, curl the toes, launch into Adho Mukha Svanasana. And we'll take that same sequence now to the other side. So let's go ahead and bring the left foot to the front of the mat, between the hands. Turn and plant your back foot down. Bring the left elbow to rest on your thigh and carry the right arm up towards the sky. Plug your back thigh in, glue your back foot down. Make your muscles activate. And then this is the stabilizer through the lower body. And we're gonna bring mobility into the upper body. All right, when you're ready, take the right arm down, gaze down. And then inhale, fly it right back. Good, exhaling. Inhale. Exhale. And this inhale will hold it. You may not be able to drop the hand down, but see if you can. See if you can stack the shoulder, stay in that open twist. And now send and soar the right arm over the side of the face. If it prohibits the breath or limits the breath, leave it out. Exhale, right hand down, spin away from the back heel. Take the left arm side. Exhale, bend the left hand down. Twice more, inhale, build it up. Exhale, let it flow. Pausing in that twist. Exhale, land your hand. Inhale, build it up to crescent. Exhale, fold over the front thigh. We only did that once. Inhale, we're lifting the back foot, elevating the right knee at the top of the mat. Exhale, hands together, foot lowers. All right, bring it back down to the floor. Inhale, take it up to upward worship. Remembering all the beauty that life has brought your way. Exhale, bring the hands down your center and fold into self. This time the legs are structured, so your feet are really drilling down, your calf muscles are engaged, your kneecaps are lifting to help to engage the quads as you pour over and stretch your hamstrings. On your next inhale, step back to plank. Drop down to your knees. Untuck your toes. We're coming up. Diamond. As we exhale, the hands swoop behind the back. We clasp hold of the right wrist. We lower like child, but we're turning towards the right temple. Inhale, we come up. Diamond. Exhale, take a hold of your left wrist as you come down this time. Pour down to your left temple. Good, continue alternating back and forth. From here, there's a little different variance of the child's pose. Last one. Beautiful breath, by the way. Inhale, let's come up to diamond. Exhale, we're opening the gates of the heart. Shifting the thighs forward like camel ustrasana. And then as we exhale, it's like scarecrow arms as we pour over to child's, the variation we started with. And then we're going to flow. Inhale, draw up. Arch it back, ustrasana, letting the light in. And exhale, coming into child's. Continue that flow of movement. Last one. Pausing in your child's. Establishing yourself here. But we're going to bring in the affirmation for camel. So I want you to remember how it felt in camel pose, with your heart open, with your gaze lifted, with your arms out. Affirming here, free in my heart, I choose to live without fear. Free in my heart, I let the light in and I shine my light out. We're gonna roll down to our backs. We're gonna use a block. So have that block handy. You're gonna have your knees bent, your ankles aligned under your knees for bridge pose. Now we're gonna bring the arms down beside us, palms flattening to the floor. Root the feet and shoulders, and inhale, tuck the tailbone and lift thighs, hips, abdomen, and chest. Three deep breaths. As you exhale, slowly lower down to the sacrum. This time, find that block, and you're going to place it in between your knees or thighs. Pressurizing the shoulders and the feet. Inhale, picking back up to Setu Bandhasana. Notice what changed. Do you find that there's more weight to the mount of the big toes? Do you find that you're having to squeeze the knees more? Are you discovering it's working your hamstrings or glutes more? Just notice the difference. But then we're going to see if we can tuck the shoulders under the body, maybe even interlace the hands together, puffing the chest towards the chin. 3 deep breaths now. As we exhale, separate the hands, roll it down to the sacrum. Pick up your feet a moment. It's okay to still have that block. Now take the block away. Set the feet firmly to the mat. This time when you inhale and charge up, you're taking the block under your sacrum. And take a more restorative position. And at that point, your arms can kind of fan open, palms open. Notice you don't have to pressurize the feet. We're not having to engage the hamstrings or glutes. We have something to roost on here. Then we're going to fly the feet up. Take this form of waterfall. Notice in waterfall, the heart is still open. And I want our hearts to be open for the shamanic journey, because in the shamanic journey today, we'll be entering a cave, and the cave actually represents the inner chamber of the heart. So in case I failed to mention that during the shamanic journey, the cave represents the innermost chamber of your heart, not your physical heart, your metaphysical heart, your spiritual heart. This pose is good for our circulation. It's good for the lymphatic tissues of the lower body. Your feet can rest or they can pump between the two flexions, the plantar and dorsiflexion. Take one last breath. Still the feet down. Inhale, tuck and lift. Slide the block away. Roll it down one vertebra at a time. All right. Keep your feet on the floor, your knees bent. And you're going to stack your right ankle over the left knee. All right, your arms are gonna reach out like a T, and you're gonna roll to the inner edge of the left foot so that the knees lean over to the right. And that right foot is bearing weight on the left thigh, even though that left thigh may not touch down. One big bold breath. Inhale, come back to the sole of the left foot. Cross your right leg completely over your left thigh at that point, and let your knees roll over to the left. So it's a whole different twist. Now the legs are wrapped, and feel free to use your left hand to push down on the knees if that's not aggravating for your back. Only do it if it feels good and freeing to your back. Let's slowly roll back to center. Uncross the right leg. Stack your left ankle over your right knee. Roll to the inner edge of the right foot. And let the knees fall over to the left. So there's space between the thighs on this one. Inhale, draw through center, cross the left leg completely over the right, and then let the knees lean right. So this is a deeper variation of the twist. Targeting a different point than the other one did. Free up your breath. Now unroll from the twist. Uncross your legs, but bring the knees in towards your side body in order to grab your shins or feet with your hands to take Ananda Balasana, Blissful Baby. So there's a lot going on in a twist, right? I mean, you could probably feel that in your body, but it works so many different systems, from the endocrine system to the muscular system, to the skeletal system, to the digestive system, to the respiratory system. So since there's a lot happening in twist, we always want a counter as a way to reset the back. That's why we're here in this pose right now, to reset the back. So firmly anchor down through your sacrum. At the same time, you're getting some work in your hips. And then lower the feet down to the floor. Bring the soles of the feet to meet. Your hands can rest on your belly a moment. So we've mixed a few passive poses in the mix of our flow today. This is going to be one of those passively held positions. Long enough for you to consider before we move into the shamanic journey. How sometimes we channel our inner child. We were doing a lot of playful moves on Wednesday, rocking and rolling on the mat. And we were needing to channel that inner child to be a little bit more playful with the body. When we can channel the inner child, it brings back wonder and innocence, creativity and playfulness. When we are ever triggered due to trauma, it can make things challenging.
because we are shaped by our experiences. So let's set our intention to move towards the inner chamber of the heart, to meet and greet our inner child, and to love on them, to embrace them, to accept them fully, and to let them know we are here for them as an adult. And we can say and treat them as we would have wanted to have been treated in the past. So I want you to consider what position you would like to be in for the shamanic journey. I would suggest maybe hugging the knees in to give the hips a momentary break, and maybe finding a bolster to either go under your knees or underneath your spine for a pose of restoration. I'm demoing a back bend. If you prefer legs up the wall, you can move to a wall and send the legs up. So just know you always have choices. And in case you've never done a shamanic journey before, it's a guided vision quest. And we always listen to drums. So I'm going to be playing a soundtrack of drums. The drums that can represent the rhythm of time, the drums that can represent our own internal heartbeat. The drums that have that tribal essence. And please know that as I'm guiding you through this, there may be things that show up that don't make sense. Instead of trying to analyze it, be with it, notice it. Whether it's a color, whether it's an animal, or even a message. So in these first moments, I just want you to focus on your body and get it positioned just right. Allow your body to rest, giving it permission to let go. Within this safe space, know that you are being held. You are being supported on your journey. Take a cleansing breath, breathing in, breathing out through your mouth. Follow the breath all the way down, down to the tailbone or feet. Gaze into your mind's eye as if you were looking at a screen in a theater. Instead of watching someone else's story, the curtain begins to open. And you see a familiar scene. And this familiar scene is a backyard that you would play in. Could have been yours, it could have been your grandparents, it could have been your neighbors, your friends, or your favorite place that you would visit. You're there as an adult. And you're stepping through that screen so that you're feeling the ground, the grass, or the sand, or the soil under your bare feet. Look around you and take in the scenery. Anything else that might appear. Continue stepping 1 foot at a time across the yard. And let your imagination bring in a stream of water, like a creek, that has appeared beside you. You hear the sound of the water trickling. You see it sparkling. And you decide to travel with it and walk downstream. We're going to take 10 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And after taking those 10 steps, you see next to the creek is a large weeping willow tree. Its branches are hanging low. The green leaves are swaying in the wind. And you can hear the wind moving through the limbs. This beautiful weeping willow tree, if you look at the base of the trunk, there's an opening. It's a little bit like Alice in Wonderland. The opening is small, but you can fit, and you hear drumming coming from the inside of this hollow tree. So you step inside. It's like a cave. It's hollow, dark. But not only do you hear drumming, you see a light shimmering. So you move towards. The drum gets a little louder. The light gets a little brighter. And take a seat and wait. And you notice a little boy or a little girl peering in the shadows. You meet their eyes. You smile and invite them to come near. Notice what age you are. Notice your appearance. Recognize yourself in this image and pat the seat next to you and ask them to come sit. Embrace them with a large, open, bare heart. You kiss their brow or cheek, telling them they're safe. This is your adult self. And I want you to share a message with them that you needed to hear as a child. It could be as simple as you are safe, you are beautiful, You are unconditionally accepted and loved. And the drum beat changes. And that little girl or boy comes to sit in front of you. And you have a moment to commune with them, to rest with them. And to ask them, is there anything you need to say to me? Are there any gifts or medicines we can share together? Let them gift you with something. Now I want you to give them a flower. Know that you can revisit your inner child anytime, because they're always here with you, even if they're in this inner chamber of your heart. You are them, they are you. You are one. From these last minute exchanges, you're hearing the call. It's time to come back. Hearing the wrap, say your goodbyes for now. Know that neither one of you are ever alone. Step back outside from the cave into the sunlight, under the shade of the tree. Walking upstream alongside the creek. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now in that backyard, let you see what all took place.
step back through the screen. Return to your body. Return to the sacred space. Back to your breath. Live in your breath. Gently bring movement to your hands and feet. Wrap your knees up with your arms. With metta, loving kindness, and Mayatri, radical acceptance. Turn over to one side of your body and come on up to find a seat. Reflect back. The vision quest. Things may or may not have appeared. But whatever appeared in whatever color, in whatever shape, in whatever form, that's what you want to pay attention to. There is meaning to it. There is a message in it. There is symbology there. And if you don't know what it is, you're going to Google it. Place your hands to prayer position at your heart. The light and the love, the truth that I hold within my heart humbly bows to the light, to the love, and the truth that you hold within yours. My inner child bows respectfully to your inner child, and my adult self honors the radiance that you are today. Namaste. So much for coming. Sorry, someone opened the door, but they were here for the next class. Hope that wasn't startling or took you out of it too much. But seriously, if a yellow rose was the flower, look up yellow rose. Look at the color yellow. Look at the color or the flower rose. Check out all the meanings and the significance and the symbology. It's pretty amazing. The more you practice shamanic journeys, what can come up for you. I have a dear friend who lost one of her twin girls 10 days after giving birth. One of them is thriving and just turned 7 years old. But when she does these shamanic journeys, Juniper, the child she lost, always shows up. Always shows up as a spirit guide. You could have had an animal show up as your animal spirit guide. So look up whatever animal appeared. If it was a raccoon, if it was a bear, like I said, it doesn't have to make sense. It could have been a whale sitting in the tree. It doesn't have to make sense, but it's there for a reason. And thank you for showing up today. It was fun being here on Saturday.
Thank you.